Here we go.
Okay, and we are live. Welcome to the Monday BrainDrive.ai Monday development call. We do these development call live streams every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So we encourage you to join us here or also in the forums at community.braindrive.ai, where we post the recording later in the afternoon after it finishes processing. Our mission here at BrainDrive is to build a superior user-owned alternative to big tech AI systems. I'm Dave Waring, and I handle the operations side here at BrainDrive.
And I'm David Jones, and I handle the tech side here at BrainDrive.
Awesome. So we're going to get into the development details from last week, but before we do that, I always like to cover our roadmap. Let me just share the screen here, just from a big picture standpoint. We have a five-phase roadmap with phase zero being our MIT license. Our whole thing is it's your AI, it's your rules. So the most permissive license is MIT. So that's what we've chosen. And then phase one is laying the foundation for your ownership and control over the four primary components of the AI system: the interface, the intelligence, the memory, and the hosting, which can be done locally on your own computer. We're in the final stages of wrapping that up with the one-click installers that are going to allow you to download and install those on your machine, Linux, Windows, and Mac, your operating system of choice. Make that really easy to get up and running. And then we'll move into phase two, which is our BrainDrive owner release, which is all about making it easy for the individual that wants to own their own AI system to get up and running and get to that first AI powered local chat, turn off the internet, tell me a joke, and it works. So that's what that's all about. Then we'll move into phase three, which is our BrainDrive Builder release. And this is about building on top of BrainDrive. And Dave Jones, who you just met and is on the call, handles the tech side here, has done an awesome job of making this a modular system that's very easy to build on, that fits our empowerment pillar. And then we'll move into our entrepreneur release. If we want to build a superior user-owned alternative to big tech AI systems, we need an ecosystem that can fund that in a competitive way. And so that's what this is all about. And that will move us into community acceleration. We'll have the technology stack, we'll have the ecosystem, we'll have the incentives to drive that superior alternative. And we think it's game over for big tech AI systems at this stage. So you can read that full roadmap at our doc site at docs.braindrive.ai. And then we also have on our GitHub a project page that is aligned with these foundations, with those phases rather, where you can jump in and ask questions and even help us out if you're ready. So, Dave, you want to kick us off with the accomplishments from last week?
Sure, since it was only a 4-day week, of course. Anybody paying attention, I missed last week. Weddings do persist. The first thing, the progress on the installer. 99% of the time, it works perfect on Windows. I've discovered a instance of one time it didn't, so I want to figure out why it didn't work. And all it was simply it did not put in localhost. Instead, it just kept this template variable. So I just need to figure out why and add a due diligence catch right there. So if it misses it again, there's a little catcher that'll look and see it and clean that mess up for us. Takes 5 minutes and 30 seconds to install on Windows 11, and that is with everything else I have running under the sun. So probably was a little resource intensive, but that still is under our original 10-minute goal we wanted to be at. So I'm pretty happy with that. As far as the installer works, the update at present, because of the fact that we are under, I'll call it a beta, is simply it'll rebase your system for you and get any new code. It'll catch it up. You can only use it when it's not running. As soon as I click start BrainDrive, the update goes away. You can't press it in the middle of doing stuff. But everything on Friday, when I did a test routine, worked perfectly. Did it a second time, third time. I'm pretty happy. And now I am going to probably start on today, get the repo for the new installer set up. And if you recall, the installer updater We had another piece that sat out there because if we because we do are going to make changes to this as time goes by, of course. So we're anticipating that. And what'll happen is when you install it, you start up the manager here to start up BrainDrive, and it'll automatically check and say, hey, does the installer have any update stuff to do? And it'll take care of that for you. You don't have to worry about going anywhere. What was that link? Find a repo, because finding a repo is hard, even if you know what you're doing. So if you
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing and you hit right now, we have 26 repos on BrainDrive, and that is just getting started.
Right. So you've got update brain drive, and then you have update this installer.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So it
yeah.
takes care of it all for you. I actually had a pretty good conversation with Jimmy this morning as far as how to name it better and how to structure the repos better because we had two beforehand to try to minimize the confusion with the names and what users should do so it'll be pretty concise and stuff like that.
And
Um,
Jimmy is which AI powered team member?
that's ChatGPT on this computer. Yeah, I use Jimmy for both coding as far as Codex goes, and also he's my general. I'm gonna ask questions too, outside of coding and all like that. Just hey, I, I don't want to remember the 13 commands to do some type of stuff in GitHub and stuff like that. It does it for me.
Right. Right.
Um,
Awesome.
big change to this from anybody seeing a video from when we did installers for Open Web UI is the settings. Do I need to pull this over because it went over there? The settings allow us to change things that would normally not be able to be done by the user and stuff like that. So this is like when you first install, you can select exactly where you want this to be installed at. So you're no longer stuck to a directory anymore. If you want to be somewhere else, you'd be somewhere else. That's up to you. Um, the network allows you to determine where your hosts are going to exist and the ports. This is not so important for probably Dave or most users, but you get anybody into building and the ability to have your brain drive on other ports than you're developing on is pretty important, especially when you only have one system. So this will allow for that. And for me, for testing, I can just simply put other ports on, run it to the side. 5 minutes later, I'll know if everything's working right without having to babysit and stuff like that.
Right.
Um,
Cool.
these are not quite being used yet, but I do see them coming in the future and more. That's why I put the tabs there. Just like advanced allows us to already start setting information up to be used by BrainDrive. We were talking about debugging last week, providing more information. This is the first inroads to that kind of happening
And
as
all
well.
that will be local.
Yes, this is all local. Everything right here is all you and you only.
Yep.
No other way to go about it for this. And then, of course, just let you know that changes here does require a restart to brain drive so it can take them in because most of these are arguments or like your .env files. So they need to be changed before you start up. So just
And if
a
I'm
little.
privacy focused, Pat, which is our non developer persona that's focused on owning their own AI system, for privacy reasons, will I need to mess with any of this?
Uh, at only this is all local. So if let's say for whatever reason, you have a encrypted drive. You could have your own SSD that's encrypted. You want to make sure nobody can get a hold of it. You could change right here and say, hey, I'm going to put the database over here on my encrypted drive and not in Brain Drive. So you have the Brain Drive code sitting over here, and then you're going to put just the Brain Drive database on
Right.
your encrypted.
So
That's
it
all.
allows you to do a lot of stuff. But my question is, if
Yeah.
I'm just clicking through and I just want to install it with all the defaults, I
You
don't
don't
have to
even need
mess
to
with any of
change.
this.
You don't even need to click open settings.
Okay, good.
This is
Love it.
for advanced people who want to do other things and they're just becoming available. And like I said, I'm anticipating the questions coming and the method in which we can solve them.
Okay, great. Love it. This is
Then
coming
we get
along great.
yeah, yeah. Uh still sticking to by the end of the week, I want to have Mac and I want to have Windows up and running, operational, and anybody can install from. So
Awesome.
and Ubuntu will be a bonus, but as we talked about, our primary users right now, if you're on an Ubuntu system, odds are you're not Katie, You're not, you're Aaron, you know how to install from a terminal, so you can get by without this very easily. And in fact, this might even slow you down type thing. So
Cool.
Mac and Windows will be the priority hitting Friday. If we have extra time, do a test run on Ubuntu and see how it works there.
Awesome. Great progress. You want to stop sharing unless there's anything else you want to
Oh,
share
I
from
have
last
more.
week?
I'm not even close to done yet.
Oh,
We're
wow. Okay. Excellent.
Yes, do I have the bonus round? Okay, don't mind my little updates. I just hadn't been working on this system in a while, simply because I was doing an installer over here, and Hank had the plugin stuff that I was doing. But I came up with watching Beck go through the motion that he's going through, and I realized one, I haven't created a plugin in probably 2 months or something like that. So answering questions, I have to go back a lot, but also, are we still in tune with the vision? That's the key thing right there. So in order to do that, every once in a while, let's build a plugin, just see what happens. So I came up with an idea a while ago, just to, hey, we're going to duplicate Infinite Craft, and I'm going to call it BrainDrive Craft.
And
And
what
if
is
any,
Infinite Craft?
it's a simple AI based game. Um, Hold on, we will demonstrate really quick because there we go. Very easy. Oh, I'm not a robot. There you go. Oh, come on,
Yeah.
motorcycle.
Oh, what? How annoying.
It's okay. As oh, now we want more motorcycles. As I was telling my wife, it was like if you have a mistake, it's always going to happen when you're, on a live call like this or like
Right.
that. So that's why I always like 9 o'clock. I start going through the whole process, but I didn't have that. So Infinite Craft is very simple. There we go.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
ba
Okay. I remember this.
You seen this? Okay. It was one of the first. It went viral. It was one of the first kind of here's an AI game type that uses AI to play a game, and you wrap an interface. So if you take the word game out of here, this follows a lot of the same logics, though, if you want a business type application, because you have rules, you have a goal. The business applications are easier in the fact that you don't tend to have as much scope creep as you do with a game. Because as soon as somebody sees any part of a game, they're always going, well, what about this? What about that? Let's do this. Suddenly you have a game like this and you're tracking hit points. Who knows what people think about. Um, but anyways, that was a good basis, because if you can duplicate this, you really can get away with a lot. So I went into this. We're going to do Infinite Craft, call it BrainDrive Craft, and how long would it take? And how close can I get? There was a little concepts like that. And I wasn't worried about the interface. It was just the general perception. So it comes down to you can do this with this already.
Oh,
Because
wow. This looks
you, because,
awesome.
and this is, I can get to this, is Dave asked me quite a few times, probably in the last 2 to 3 weeks, limitations. What are our plugin developers' limitations? What can't they do? What can they do? And I said, I don't know. I haven't really played and pushed, and let's see how much we can bend the steel rod to turn it into a pretzel.
This
So
looks awesome.
so this is the basic concept of the game. I can select two elements. This might take it a slight delay just because it has to reload the model. This is only running on a Llama 3.18B, and it's already up. It gives me a new discovery, comes over here. If I want to start a new game, handles that for me. It does everything the game is supposed to do. Plus, we're not done yet. If you notice, as soon as I install, it automatically does the page for me. I don't have to set it up for me. So when you install the plugin, I think I talked to Beck about this, you can make it do the page for you so the user doesn't have to do it. He installs the plugin, he gets this page automatically. Second thing, swallowing my own medicine. I hope I have two of them now because I've been playing with installs, but it uses personas to handle the system prompt inside the game, so that if you as a user wanted to tweak it, to play with it, to explore different things you can do, you don't have to go into the code. You come to here, let's go to edit. Here's the system prompt that it uses. And if you want to tweak this, go right ahead. Any way you want.
And what is the system prompt doing here?
This is this prompt, the game, when you hand it, let's say fire and water, right? This is the system prompt that it's going to send going here. I'm giving you fire, I'm giving you water, create a new element and return it back in this format. So if you wanted to change it, you can change it without having to alter the code, play with the code, or even look at the code of the plugin.
And how much of the work is the system prompt?
Um, there is not really a lot of work. What it is though is the experimentation, because if you like any prompt you do, you have to sit there and play with it to get it to give the right output consistently every time. So this allows you to do that without ever building. Does that make sense?
Wow, this is cool.
And also this is the since I was playing, the lifecycle manager will, if I uninstall this, it will actually uninstall the persona because I don't need it anymore, and it will uninstall the
Oh
page
my
as well.
God.
So it's
Wow,
like
you were busy this weekend, huh?
yeah. Actually, I'm not even to the fun part yet. This was the goal part.
So basically, we have a one-click plugin installer. You want to just go to the plugin manager and just click the install button real quick just
Yep,
to show what that looks like.
yep,
So this is just you download it from a GitHub repository and it adds it to your plugin manager. And it sounds like you've added that when you download the BrainDrive Craft plugin, it's also going to create a persona and a page for you.
yep.
And then
What?
also, if you delete the BrainDrive Craft plugin, it's going to delete the page and the persona.
Clean itself up perfectly. So as if like it should be, it's like it's never was there.
Whew, this is hot.
And then if you go into here,
This is OP, my son would
yeah.
say.
Yeah, they have a bunch of different words that could be used and all like that. Um, what was the next? Oh, I don't have that quite, so we will have to, here we go. We will use this. I'll come over here. In doing this and in creating, this is on my repo, by the way, because these are helper scripts that I developed. When I was coding this, I coded a new lifecycle manager with the goal of all the code that I do not normally touch in the lifecycle manager, I push to a helper. And then the only thing in the lifecycle manager were the things that I have to touch every time. And I spoke about this probably a few weeks ago on one of our little calls of I wanted to get a hold of the lifecycle manager and make it easier for developers because there's 900 lines in there that they don't ever need to touch. So if you're new, that gets daunting. So now it's trimmed down to, even with all the extra 300 lines that are in my lifecycle manager for this game right here. And then the rest is just in a helper script that gets called.
Okay,
So
so now when I'm looking at the lifecycle manager and messing with the plugin template and stuff, it's 300 lines instead of 1200.
it will be as soon as I implement these changes and all like that, because I have to push them before. But in this plugin, you can see it now where I've trimmed down the lifecycle manager. I have what's called the lifecycle manager still, as it's always named. But then I have what I call a community.lifecycle manager. And this is where all the helper work is done. So the lifecycle manager now has 300 lines of code. These are the only things I need to play with, and I can do persona, pages right now. There's examples for everything. There's also examples for cleaning it up. And then the stuff that you don't need to worry about that's just in your way that of course, if you don't know what you're looking at, can be confusing, is now pushed to another script where you don't even need to look at
This is awesome.
it. And these two scripts saved me my insanity. Because when I was doing the lifecycle manager and the plugin, you have to nail down every issue, and you get them one at a time. So you have to put the install together, or do the build, install it, and then you get an error. And I'm sure you've seen with Beck posting the errors between each other, that can get a little daunting. And I did it 4 times, and I was like almost an hour. I think maybe 5 times. And it took me an hour of the complete process of building, figuring out the issue, clean that up. So I was like, there's a better way. Created an install, created a delete, and then I told Codex, run through them. Because this script has a complete install process using the same thing as the web front end that we just showed. This uses all the same code. So it's reusing code, it's testing it to make sure it works, so it goes through the same system. And what it does, it logs in, as you can see right here, a user. and it says, hey, install this. And if you get an error, let me know. And then Codex takes that error, says, okay, we have an error. Let's fix it. And then it fixes the error. Then it runs dev delete, deletes the plugin, and then reinstalls it. And it completes that over and over until it's a complete clean install.
Okay, so basically you give it to Codex and you say keep running this and fixing the errors that you're getting until you don't have any errors
Yep.
anymore.
It did it 62 times in under 50 minutes.
Wow.
And that
That's
saved,
crazy.
and considering it took me 4 or 5 times in 1 hour, that saved me my insanity, or
Yeah, that
my
saved you
sense.
a 2 days worth of work.
Exactly. So it was like this was like that moment of I'll call it aha for me because it was like really it changed. Normally I just push and code and hammer it out, but this is that. I was like, okay, I'm going to set up scripts and I'm going to let the agent do its thing to, get the results I want while I do something else, and it turned 2 days into 55 minutes or something like that.
Oh
So,
my God, amazing.
yeah, it
This
was
is what
pretty.
they mean when they say 10x yourself,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. No, this is the perfect example of using AI to 10x, to clone yourself, to do multiple things faster, better, and smoother. So yeah, this is for me, like I was saying, the vision is
Oh
you can
yeah, I
have.
mean this is coming months ahead of where I thought it was now slated to come. So this is amazing.
Yeah, this is like you have an idea, and this is where it's like the example is here, and no other system can do this, where you can have an idea, you can turn it into something in 1 day, basically, and there's nothing stopping you. And you do not have to worry about me doing an update on Wednesday and making sure the code matches, or is it in sync, or am I going to mess something up where you can no longer do what you're doing or anything like that. The plugin, you can leverage it. You can have whatever page you want, even up to this, play a little game, do emails, whatever, and run with it. And that is that vision that I tried to get you to see back in January 1 last year, and it was like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's okay. My wife
Yeah.
doesn't know what I'm talking about half time, so I don't ever get daunted by that. It's just now I can finally show people this is where we're heading.
I mean, I also know it's a small thing compared to everything else that you've done, but the system just feels a lot more modern and polished now.
Yeah,
You know
we
what I
still have
mean?
we still have a ways to go. I probably came up with 5 issues as I was doing this. They weren't showstoppers, obviously, but just things that we could do better. The installer needs to mature a little bit. That I got tired of zipping up and down the screen, and I was like, we can do this better. So the maturity things are going to come, um, but there's no other way to learn except for by doing. So
Any
I just
any other of the five, just so I can add them to the phase three project that you know off the top of your head?
Okay, let's go. Issues. The plugin state was not which is one of our service bridges. It's successfully saving to the storage in the browser, but it never pushed the browser storage to the database. So while this will save for here, it doesn't do what I intended, where I could go to another device and my game or whatever you were doing will load up there. So I want to clean that up right there. Let's see. The install page, improve the UI. I want to, instead of having it really a top-down approach, it needs to go to tabs. So you can do everything from one window. Um, Versus, because like I said, if you install right now, you have to span downward to see if you had an error, did it succeed? You should be able to do everything from one interface right there without ever hitting a scroll bar, in my opinion. Uh, Full install, when I install this plugin or any plugin, this menu system right here off to this side needs to update immediately. Right now, I had to refresh that. I didn't like that. Let's see. What's these? Oh, and another thing, boom. I do not have this installed on this user, but it's showing up that it needs to be updated. So there's a little bleed through of the system saying it's available because one of my other users installed it.
Oh,
And
you have
this,
multiple users on this brain
oh
drive?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I always have multiple. I can't think of a single install I have where I don't have like at least three. But then
And
this is
why? What do you do? Why do you have different multiple users?
testing different things. Because like on one, I have like all the service bridges installed. So I just install them so I can test them so I can play with them. But I also don't want that into my account that like where either I'm testing the BrainDrive chat. I don't want to have service bridges involved and like that. Let's say, because so if I come up to here to the builder, I don't want my menu taking up just because, hey, I'm lazy type thing.
Uh,
And if I'm working on this, I only want to deal with this.
what?
So,
Does the how to play button work?
oh, I mean like that. Everything you see on this works. That was my goal. It was like show people what you could do if you just have an idea and go with it.
Okay, so stop sharing for a
Yep.
minute. All right. So I'm new to Brain Drive,
Yep.
and I've read our marketing materials, which I'll show later in the call. So I understand, own, control, benefit from my own AI system. I've got the ownership part. I've got the self-hosting part. I've got the freedom part. And now
Yep.
I'm like, oh, wow, I love this local AI stuff. Now I want to build,
Yep.
right? Like, how would you introduce now, like someone from start to finish? Don't talk about what's changed because this
Yep.
person's not going to know.
Yep. Nope. Okay. That goes into what I need to do next.
Okay.
I was watching a video, Dan Martell. I don't know if you know who he is. My wife laughed because he's so full of himself. Hey, I don't worry about that. I want the information that you have to teach me. Something I've done with content, he brought it to bear, and I was like, this could work here. I need to take the plugin I just did, and I already have notes of the things I caught the AI doing wrong. I need to be forward thinking and saying, hey, this is the goal. These are the things to make sure that you not just watch out for. These are the rules for building a plugin in BrainDrive. And we've talked about this for a long time. This now needs to start happening.
Okay,
And
so the first thing, you would say, I think, is like, this is designed to make it, we're trying to make it as easy as
yep,
possible for you to build on top of Brain Drive. And really, like, our whole thing, like other open source projects, great, love them, all part of the user-owned AI
yep,
movement. We view this as cooperation and all participants. But the big difference with ours is designed for you to realize your vision instead of, being a part of someone else's
yep,
vision, basically. So we're
yes,
trying to keep a very thin core that
yep,
just handles like the ability for people to build on top of this without recreating all of the stuff that every AI system
yep,
needs, like authentication and how the plugins communicate with each other, et cetera, right?
yep,
And so you'd say, okay, so you can build whatever you want on this. Like I think, okay, so how do I start with this? I understand you're gonna like you want to do some things,
yep,
but even before, like what I would think is, okay, the first thing I want to do from talking to you, if I was trying to do
yep,
this, is I want to make sure that I'm loading BrainDrive Core
yep,
up with the plugin template that we have or
yep,
you have built for me to see how all this works,
yep.
right? So we have this plugin template and it
Install it.
install the plugin template using the one-click
Yep,
install.
yep,
And then okay, now I've got the plugin template installed, so I've seen, oh wow, this thing handles like I just put my GitHub link in. In this case, it's the plugin template,
yep.
and bam, there it all is, right?
Exactly. Yes. And
Uh,
and as we go through our video, or we talked about this a few times and like that, the next step for anybody, and just to get an idea of how the system works, just change something. Go into
and
the
but
title.
this is where it's in my IDE, right? Like it's
Yep.
in VS
Yeah.
Code or
Yeah. The
whatever it
only thing,
is.
yeah. Okay. The only thing you have to do extra here, because you installed it into BrainDrive, you can see it in the page builder, but now you're going to become a developer. You'll
Yep.
have to clone the repo, and I use plugin build as my where I develop plugins at. So you would have to create a plugin build directory. Pretty simple. MD, run with it, or MKDIR. Put the plugin build directory name in there and go with it. In there, you would do git clone and then the GitHub clone GitHub directory.
Okay, so I have my BrainDrive core loaded in my IDE, my
Yep,
VS Code for me. And now I'm creating a directory, a plugin directory, and I'm cloning the plugin template into that directory.
yep,
So now they're both loaded up in the
yep,
same place, which is really important because now the AI can see the core
yep.
and it can understand how the core communicates with plugins.
Yep, exactly. If you have to get serious, I call it, and you want to say, "Hey, how does this service bridge connect to the core to work?" Let's say API. And then instead of having to work on documents alone, it skips that. It goes straight to code. And it says, okay, it goes to the base, sees how the service bridges are registered. It jumps to the class that's instantiated to do that. And it says, okay, here are the functions that are available. This is what you want to use. And you can say, hey, can you give me an example of this? And let's say I want to load, Microsoft's, homepage. So, and it'll say, put Microsoft.com here, go. And you put it in there, you click a button. If you, however you code it to work, you click a button, and all of a sudden it's showing you Microsoft's homepage.
Right. So for me, like if I just wanted to change the name of the plugin, once I had it loaded up and it was, I had my Brain Drive core loaded up, I got the plugin template in the plugin directory, I've
Yep.
got codecs there. I would just say, change the name of this to Dave's plugin,
Yep.
and it's going to update it. And then I can go back over to Brain Drive and see
Well,
that.
no, wait, you'd have, okay, this is where we got into working where I changed the directory to what you do is you go into the back end, you go into plugins, shared, and you will see plugin template. And then inside there, it'll be 1.0, so you know that's the right version that you're working with. And inside that, you'll see a dist. And in every plugin I do, I keep that there. I just comment it out so users can, when I'm talking, can see what I'm talking about versus an unknown area of the screen.
Okay.
Um, and you just make sure that's mapping correctly to that one. And so that when you go into your plugin prompt or terminal and you do the npm run build, it will send the files to your backend immediately. You don't have to install anything else. It'll just automatically build them and then put them in the back
And
end
what
for
what
you.
did you say is the mechanism that makes that happen again?
npm run build.
Well, no, I got that, but
Oh,
what makes sure it puts it in the right place?
oh, that's it. When you have the webpack file, and that's what builds that does what the bundle for you. And inside there is a directory where you want to put the build files at. And then
Okay.
normally this goes just straight off to dist in that plugin. But in this case, we're going to trick the system a little bit and we're going to send it to where the plugin's installed. So that way I don't have to do the entire install process.
I see. This is the five. This is the, yeah, this is
I'm
that.
going to turn 15 minutes into 5 seconds
Yeah.
type
Right.
thing. Um,
Okay.
and that way it's like, and then I just in my
Right. So
browser,
instead of, I understand now.
yeah.
So instead of like putting it in the GitHub and having to uninstall the plugin and reinstall the plugin, I'm just sending the change right to the plugin so I don't have to do all that.
Yeah, exactly. It skips all the whole mess of doing a rebuild, doing a bundle, and doing a delete
Okay,
and
so now
install.
I've changed something. I see this, I understand how the one-click install works. I've got my development environment set up. Okay, and now I'm able to submit changes right to the plugin. So I've got
Yep.
my quick development cycle set up. What's next?
What's next is you open up the dev tools like we do quite frequently. Make sure you don't have caching enabled
In the
uh,
browser, yep.
in the browser. And for me, all I have to do is once I have that open and I have to have it open for some reason for it to work effectively. And then I just do the Control Shift R on the browser page of BrainDrive.
Hard refresh.
Yep, hard refresh from the keys, and it just automatically unloads and reloads and that's another thing that's on my list of the caching. I want to get this set up so that once you make changes, it clicks on them and just automatically tells the front end, hey, we have changes that are being pushed and takes care of it for you. But for
Got it.
right now, there'll be a little daunting step for people.
Just the hard refresh,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now what's next?
You see it. The change is
Okay.
there. You're done.
All right.
This is
But
hello world right now.
okay. Great. But
Yep.
now it sounds like you've done a whole lot more in terms of like going through this, and you're talking to the AI the whole time, and you've recognized some things where like the AI might spin out, or
Yep.
you got to
Uh,
catch it because it's going in the wrong direction. Any advice on that type of stuff
um,
before we do like a full?
Not for, okay, this would be for the, I'll call it the, if you're a React developer, know that you're doing a class-based component, because this way you're not expecting React to come into the plugin. You're building a class that's going to instantiate everything and handle its own hooks. It's its own microcosm. Treat it like its own. That's why you do class-based. If you approach this from a normal React method where you're not doing module federation, you're doing that. You're doing you're bringing hooks like use state, use effect. You're bringing them in from the core, which won't allow it because we want to be decoupled. And this is Beck made the same mistake. I catch the AI making this mistake every time because 99% of React developers do this. We're at the 1%, so I just need to tell it ahead of time. We're not doing this. We're doing this. So pay attention to that.
And what did you call that again?
It's a class-based component.
A class-based component, and
Yep.
this is because we have a decoupled architecture
Yep.
with the core, and we don't want breaking changes when we update the core with plugins and vice versa and all that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is kind of
So
gives
it's
us
like it's the 1%, which makes it a little more complicated, but once you get that that's what it is, it's easy, and also it avoids a bunch of nightmares with
version control and, are you using 18.2 or 18.3.1?
right.
Those kind of things. I don't care. You should be able to just build it, run with it, and it works. And so it was like, and also the other thing I learned, Beck made the mistake and I had to figure it out for him when he figured out. I made the same mistake because I caught the AI making it. It wanted to call the plugin because I had only one plugin with one module. It wanted to call them both the same thing, and you can't do that. Your module has to be a different name than your plugin. So those are the little things that you tell the AI ahead of time. And you could either be direct and say, "Hey, this is the name of the plugin, this is the name of the module," or you just simply give it a rule. Don't make Just make sure that the plugin and the module have a different name.
Okay.
Um,
All right. I've been playing with code spaces, as you know,
yep,
on GitHub. And it seems like I haven't done any research on this yet, but it seems like you can offer up a code space to developers that just has all this stuff
yep.
where we could have like a context document or an MD file, like a markdown file that has all this stuff in it. So that the developer doesn't have to tell the AI this stuff. It
That's why
just
I was saying, I was like, I need to go back and look at everything I did. I have an example of the results of a project and go, hey, basically build me a system prompt for these rules
and
and this structure.
And it sounds like there's obviously going to be a lot more that we could do, but off the jump, if the AI, if we're giving out BrainDrive code concierge for people to build plugins with off the jump, and it has a development environment with BrainDrive core and the plugin template in it,
Mhm.
plus the context system
Yep.
prompt, that would be a pretty damn good start.
Yep. Because I'll say this on the entire way of Brain Drive Craft, and I am purposely did this, I did not touch the code at all.
You
I
just
did.
did. Yeah, because I mean, that's when I got really excited is when I started building these websites because like I haven't touched HTML I haven't done
Yep.
anything except talk to codecs. And, when I think about plugins and what you're trying to do, that they're just like React, it's basically like a little website
Yep.
within BrainDrive. So I feel like we're like really, really close to um for me to be able, like a non-developer who's never touched a piece of code, to be able to put something live on BrainDrive, which is going to be amazing.
That's why I say, I mean, granted, I have knowledge. I won't discredit that, but I wanted to see if I could do it without touching a single line of code, and it worked marvelously. Couldn't be happier.
Unreal. All right,
Like I
this is
said, I got to
awesome.
show the vision. That was the key thing for me. It was like, this is the vision. You have an idea, and it doesn't take moving Mount Everest to put it.
And in terms of like if I wanted to do this, I guess I feel like I understand everything now except for how do I get this live on my GitHub and like do a version release so it like other people can download it with the link.
You first of all, you'd have to create a repo. I think you've done that already. You'd have to, and when you first do a repo, especially if you give it, you tell it don't add anything, it will give you instructions right there in your repo how to add files to here. And basically, it tells you it's like if you have something local, if you have a project, these are the steps, and it'll tell you git, add, and dot, git, commit dash m, and your initial commit. And then here's where how you put in that this local repo belongs to this GitHub repo. And this is how you connect them. And then here's the push. We're going to push everything you have local up to your drive, up to your GitHub, and now it's available. And then when you're there, this is when you have the opportunity to use our build archive script, which is in do I have my helpers? There you go, build archive. This is the script that I use. Oh, you can't even see my screen. Um, but I have in mine, and I have probably in BrainDrive maybe. I have a build archive script, and that what that does, that allows me to I took build archive, the directory name of the plugin I'm working with, and then the version number.
Okay, so it sounds like these scripts would also be part of this Brain Drive Code Concierge
Yep,
setup.
yep.
And what scripts are there?
I currently have build archive, dev delete, and dev install. And I
Okay.
leave them there because, like I say, if you're doing the lifecycle manager for your plugin, which you have to do, because that's how BrainDrive installs it and deletes it and updates it. You could use the dev install, dev delete to hammer out your changes necessary for your lifecycle manager instead of doing it by hand, because by hand sucks, to be literal.
All right. All right. I feel like I'm getting pretty close to being able
Yep.
to do
No,
this.
I do think, especially when we get to developers, a few videos are necessary, especially for like these unique tools to brain drive to make it easier and to leverage AI. Because I think it's like once you start seeing how AI can help you, then you start wondering, okay, how else can it help you? And you can explore. But you
Right.
just need that little push of, hey, this is how somebody else does it to open, the vision. Because once you have that vision that, okay, I don't need to spend 2 days coding that, let's do that.
Love it. All right. Amazing. So just a few, that'll be our big picture topic for today. And then just a few other updates. Navaneeth is working on, he created like a 20-minute long video of like everything that
Yep,
Model Match does. I asked him to like just focus on the high level for this one, of like what this is and
yep,
like the general framework. And then he's also working on and should have for me tomorrow how to run Model Match yourself. So all of Model Match is MIT license, open source. It's on GitHub. So that's going to be a video about how to use this if you want to tweak it for your specific evaluation process and hopefully contribute use cases and everything to Model Match so we can get this community effort going behind it. This is around choosing the best open source AI model for your specific use case. Beck is hopefully rounding third on the chat with documents. He's got it working on his computer. It's just we're having some trouble getting it live on my computer, so we'll see on that one. Um, we now have, because we've shifted to really getting the individual owner, that own phase, for the next phase after the foundation phase 2. We created a new persona here. We call him Privacy Focused Pat. And this is, not a developer, but someone who is very tech forward, and maybe a developer, but is all about like probably hasn't actually seen a local AI system before. Is like me, is like gonna be kind of blown away by it. I think there's still like we're so in this that we think everybody knows about this stuff, but like 99 out of 100 people have no clue
yep.
about local AI. So So this is just a little bit more dialed in around that. But the cool thing about what you just showed, Dave, is like I think privacy focused Pat can be building stuff, a
Yeah,
lot
like I said,
sooner.
this is that easy. The fact of I didn't touch code. I had a relaxing weekend where I was, while this was working, I was doing other stuff. Not here. I
Yeah,
was like, getting, some meat ready to smoke or something like
yeah,
that. And I'd come back and check and I'd look at it. I'd tell, nope, let's do this instead.
yeah,
And then go
yeah.
back to whatever I was doing.
Yep. And then, so the goals here for this is the marketing plan for launching to privacy focused Pat, with the goal being brain drive local installs, uh, building an email list around BrainDrive, driving community members to community.braindrive.ai, and getting feedback from 25 new BrainDrive owners. With BrainDrive, you're not a user, you're an owner. So you own your own AI system. The channels that we're going to be focused on, if we have some success with organic posts, we may want to boost those, and if we can do it inexpensively, because we are on a tight string budget
Yep.
with Facebook and Google PPC. There's not a lot of competition out there for this right now. And then the launch content, this free guide to local private AI. I'm calling this "How to Run AI on Your Computer," and it's actually live now. Um, So here it is as a PDF,
Oh,
a nice little Canva.
look at that.
And then it's basically just a Google Doc, but in PDF format. But there's a lot of good, especially when you get down into the install and going through this. But again, since this person is less likely to be familiar with local AI, there's a bit more of an intro and a lead up to actually, installing this. Why do you want to do it? Sort of the problem that we're looking to solve in terms of big tech extraction and exploitation, the 5 components of an AI system and why you want to own it, how BrainDrive gives you ownership and control over these things, and then going into step by step. So, if I thought about myself when I first jumped into this. This is kind of what it took me days to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah.
So my hope is that this just really takes someone from zero to hero in about 20 minutes,
Hmm.
especially once
Especially with a
Dave.
one-click install.
Exactly. And you can be reading through this stuff as things are installing.
Yep.
Um, so that's done now, and we have this live. We have a rough draft. This hasn't been optimized yet, but here, this is um, this is the landing page for the lead magnet. I used to use Opt-in Monster, but Opt-in Monster's like got a monthly fee and it's just like it adds up so much. So this is called ConvertBox, and
Okay.
it's a one-time fee. It is expensive for one time, but I love one time. And I think that's a pricing model that can work for BrainDrive plugins as well eventually, much better than getting locked into these stupid monthly subscription fees
Yeah.
where you just end up getting locked in basically. Right now you just put your email in, you click the download button, it pops right up and sends you, but it does send you an initial email. I'm using Brevo for that because it's free to get started with. We can leave Brevo at any time, but also even on the free plan, it has automations and stuff it has a lot of the getting started. It has a lot in its free package with other platforms you have to pay a lot of money
Yep.
for. So I like that. And like we talked about, this is 100%. I haven't touched the
Yep.
HTML on this website. So, and actually wrote all the copy here too. I want to go back in and market this up a little bit.
But it
But I
looks
mean,
pretty sharp.
if someone came to me with this, as an employee, as a new employee, I would be blown away. So, that's where we're at,
Yep.
with these AI tools now, which is pretty cool. And then I have it set so it doesn't fire after you've been to the website 3 times. But if you're new to the website, uh, when you go to leave, you get a pop up,
Yep.
and this is usually a very effective. And also, I feel like this is like a real value, that we're giving to
Yep.
people here. So, and then, like I said, as soon as you put this in, right now it comes up. It also sends you an email. I want to next. I also worked on getting this set up on the community. Um, well, 2 things. One is I'm trying to get this exit intent pop up firing on the community forums, but only if you're not logged in. and I'm struggling with that a little bit. I might have to get AI can't do everything yet,
Yep.
but so I may need Dave's help on that. But I'm also hooking up the community uh to oh, this is in the incognito window. Um a lot of bees.
Yep.
To Brevo and I have when people join the community, um I want them to get a welcome message. And basically, this is going to be, the thing that I was encouraged at by this is how easy it was for me to write this. I didn't even really use AI for this. And it's just, here's me and Dave. We're building a superior user owned alternative to big tech AI system, the four pillars of BrainDrive. You're not just a user, you're an owner. It's an open platform made up of owners, builders, and entrepreneurs. Here's the owner's manual, the white paper. This is the vision document that we wrote, the roadmap. Join the community if you haven't already, which these people would have already. So it's
Yep.
just like getting them back to the community, basically. And this looks really good. It comes in. I'm able to like set the like this is what it shows up as, like when you it comes from Brain Drive and then there's like a little preview.
Yep.
So I was pretty excited about this, but just how easy it was for me to write this, it kind of shows that like all the work that we've been doing on the messaging side is going to really help us scale quickly. And
And
it's exciting. It's easy to market this. You know what I
I
mean?
will say this tool is pretty much on everybody. If I see somebody say, "Hey, these are the top 5, top 10 tools that I use," this tool is consistently there.
Yeah,
So,
cool. Um, so this is really good, and we can get really sophisticated in terms of segmenting audiences. Like, I imagine us having developer lead magnets that there'll be developer specific lists
yep.
too that we can speak to in a much more sophisticated way from a technical standpoint than we would the average owner and all that. So I spent a lot of time on this last week, and I was pretty happy with where all that came out. Let's see. Bu- 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 bu. And then yeah, this did not take a lot of time, but Dave and I had discussed creating a plugin concept document that goes over all the technicals of plugins, so we don't have to include those in all the readmes
Yep.
of the plugins that we're doing. And Dave had to make a few changes to this, but pretty much the AI just ripped
Yep.
it out. So I think now that we've got the context for the AIs, like being able to really have high quality documentation without having to involve Dave heavily, Dave's time, taking it away from actual development, that's going to be huge for us. So I don't know. It really feels like it's all coming together.
Yep. Because like that document almost shows the example of since January 1st, we've because the only changes needed were minimal. We
Yep.
haven't changed.
Yeah.
It's our concept is still our concept.
Yep. Yep. 100%. All right. And then just in the last couple minutes here for the coming week, sounds like you're all in on installer updaters for
Yep.
this week, Dave.
All in.
I'll,
Yes.
I have a few. I'm hoping this is a small thing to get the discourse, that's the forum lead capture stuff and email stuff working. Now that we have that concept document, I just want to go in and do an AI powered README for all of the plugins that we have just to clean that up. Even though we're not really focused on builders right now, it seems like we can as soon as we're ready. There's a few little lead capture optimizations that I want to do, but the big thing I want to do is I want to start working on our first persona based use case to go
Yep.
live with. And that'll be really the fact that Dave can already get the persona and the page live. That's huge.
Like
So,
I say, we're already we're the only person who doesn't know the limitations really is me because I haven't figured out where I'll call it the border is yet. Where it's like, okay, this is where the plugin starts to the functionality starts to crumble a little bit. And that's where it's like, hey, I need to find that border so I can go, okay, where do we want to go beyond that
yeah.
type thing? So until like, hey, we'll find a use case for persona base, probably let's not do game related, of course, something that more people can kind of sink their teeth into and go, oh, I've always needed that or something like that. and we'll do a plugin. And hey, this thing can do it. In my mind, this is better than custom GPTs.
Oh, this is better than anything I've seen. So, I'm like I'm itching to launch, but also like before it was like we have some like big things that we need to figure out before we launch. Now it's like I think the odds of this hitting are going to be much higher now, and so we want to make sure that we have some of our shit together
Yeah.
type stuff. You know what I mean? And also like we're just accelerating now, so it feels like we can just if we can check off installers, a good persona-based use case,
Yep.
and even maybe get a few developer resources out there because I feel like you just basically need to walk through it now. I feel like we could just do another one of these calls when you're ready. You know what I mean? You can just walk
Yep.
me through it.
Yeah. Because
So
that does need to happen is because we've talked about it. I think we've written about it. Hey, I want to do that first step into being a developer, which is the plugin template. Let's get it down. Let's change it. Let's make that happen.
well,
And
and I think actually me doing it,
that's what I'm saying. You
yeah,
doing it, I'm just sitting here talking you through it.
yeah,
Just like because and then somebody watching this video, it'll be the same thing. They're doing it, they're watching you and listening to me. And
yeah.
so it'd be like, hey, you have an entire team helping you out. You
I
got
think, and
this.
it's gonna be like, okay, like, all right, here's a good local AI system,
Yep.
right? Okay, okay, cool. Then it's like it's MIT licensed.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Oh, wow. Oh, you can customize it with these plugins and page builder. It's like, oh wow. And then it's
Yeah.
like you can build your own plugins. It's like, oh wow. And it's like you don't even have to be a developer. It's
Exactly.
like-
Why wouldn't you use it?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So this is killer, man. I'm excited. It's all coming together. All right. Anything else you want to
Um,
leave us with, Dave?
I had no challenges last week.
That's awesome. Yeah,
It
no,
could be
I
just
was
because I only had a
really
4 day
like
work week.
Yeah, I was really starting to pick up steam as well. So it's great to see it all coming together. Great work on all that. Definitely under promised and over delivered today. So yeah, with that, we'll leave it there. Like I said at the beginning of the call, our mission here at Brain Drive is to build a superior user-owned alternative to big tech AI systems. We hope you'll join us here live every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and contribute to these discussions. Join us over on the forums where we post the recordings later this afternoon once they've finished processing at community.braindrive.ai. And we'll see you next week.
Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. All right. Oh, that's that. I actually stopped the recording and not the live stream.